So our learning intentions for this lesson is just to simply add and subtract like terms. Hopefully by the end of this lesson you'll know what a like term is and how to simplify them by combining them in an expression. So what are like terms? Like terms are terms containing the exact same pronumerals, which we now know are basically the letters, although not necessarily in the same order. So let's look at a few examples. We've got 5b and 18b. They both have the same letter, b, which means these are like terms, and it does not matter what their coefficient is. So the coefficient of the first one is 5, the coefficient of the second one is 18. That does not actually matter. All that we're looking for here, if they're like terms, they have the same letter. So there is the second example, which is 12x, x, and 4x. All three of these have the same pronumeral, x, which means all three of these terms are like terms. Now this one here, 13ab and 18ba, they still contain the same letters or the same pronumerals, but they're not in the same order. That does not really matter. As long as the same letters are there, these are also like terms. And you can see that at the second half of that sentence above, although not necessarily in the same order. So let's practice identifying like terms. Let's see which one of these are like terms or which one of these are not like terms. So I'm going to use the letter L for like terms and NL for not like terms. 3x and 2x, these are like terms because they both have the letter x. 3a and 3b are not like terms because they have two different pronumerals. 2ab and 5ba, although they're in different order, they still have the same letters, so these are like terms. 4k and k, same letter, like term. Now 2a and 4ab, they both have an a, but they don't both have AB, so these are not like terms. And the same sort of rule applies for the bottom one. The bottom one has 1A and 1B on the left, and the one on the right has 2 A's and 1B. So this is not a like term, okay? Because this one has AB and this one has AB and a second A, which does make a difference. So there's a reason why we've learnt what like terms are, and that's because you can simplify really long expressions like the ones you see on your screen by collecting like terms. So the dot point says there, if you have two or more like terms in an expression, it can be simplified. So let's look at the first example. Here we have 6b and 12b, which are like terms because they both have the letter B in it. So I'm just going to highlight them both. Okay, and the 7 isn't really common with any other number on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 6b to 12b. So if I have 6 bananas and I wanted to add 12 bananas, I will have a total of 18 bananas. 6 plus 12 is 18. And the 7, well, that can't be simplified anymore, so we leave it like that. Here we have, in the next example, two sets of like terms. So we have the XH's, okay, and the HX's, because remember, the order does not matter. And here on the right, hopefully my blue highlighter works, but we have 7x and minus 2x. Now you might think that all four of them are the same because they all contain an x, but they need to match exactly the same letters. So you'll see the first two both have hx and the last two both just have x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify the red ones, which is 4xh plus 13hx. 4 plus 13 is 17. And when I write it, I prefer to write it in alphabetical order. So I'm going to leave it as hx. And then my blue ones, 7x take away 2x, well, that gives me a total of 5x. So plus 5x. That's my final answer. And the one here on the right, let's start doing our highlighting again. Okay, in red we have x here, so 2x and 4x plus 4x. Notice how I'm highlighting the sign on the left of it with the highlighting. And here in yellow maybe, AT and TA, okay? So here we have AT and plus 3TA. So in red, what can I write? 2x plus 4x, well, that gives me 6x. And in yellow, I can say 5AT plus 3AT is 8AT. Okay, so it's probably a really good idea to use your highlighters, maybe use different colored pens, and that way you can really, really easily combine or simplify like terms. Okay, so let's finish off the lesson with a reminder of key words. Okay, so everything here, I'm pointing to letters. These are the pronumerals or variables. Like I just said, anything starting with a plus or a minus is another term. Okay, and it can be constant terms. So the last one's a 5. It doesn't start with a plus or a minus, but it is on its own. Okay, so that's a term. Here we have, pointing to in red, all the coefficients, and the one I'm pointing to here is a coefficient of y. The green ones are the constant terms. Everything without an equal sign, this is an expression, and everything altogether is an equation.